it was so eye-opening for us being on the ground, even for a few days in a foreign country. Hopefully, people who saw the content, who watched and listened to the podcast, also feel like, hey, actually, this was an interesting perspective. And to do more of that, that would be damn cool.
It wasn't a slam dunk either, right? Us going to London. I think there was some internal debates within the team and all about could we afford the time and everything, and what's the ROI and all of making this trip.
What's the ROI? Wow, terrorism Singaporean, no?
Exactly.
Like, aside from, wanting to grow the brand and all, traveling as a team is still nice,
But just to clarify, this was not like a team retreat. Where
it wasn't. It was
fun. It was hectic.
Tiring,
Do you know how Singapore uses feng shui in its skyline? Why we release millions of mosquitoes across the island every week? The dark stories behind iconic tourist attractions like 𝗲𝗵𝗏𝗏. You don't? Don't worry. That's exactly why Tell You First is back for Season 2. Tell You First is our other podcast where we dive into the most random everyday topics from history, pop culture, science, and even the weird things you Google at 3 a.m. Like how the rap song Why You So Like That changed Singapore's music scene forever. The best part is, only one of us knows the details, while the other is just vibing, guessing, and sometimes just embarrassing themselves. So you get to learn with us, all with a good laugh. And what's special about Season 2? Guest episodes are now on video. That means you can watch us get schooled by our awesome guests like Muna, Gurmit Singh, Radio DJ Ray, science educator BioGirl MJ, and many others. Our educational humiliation, all in glorious 4K. Want it fast? Head to the 𝗎 app and watch episodes the moment they drop. Or you can catch them 1 week later on the 𝗎Entertainment YouTube channel. So do yourself a favor and use the link in the show notes, or search for Tell You First on the 𝗎app, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. And now, onto the podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to our 𝗖𝗏𝗏 Christmas series. Over these 3 episodes, we explore life and things we care about in Singapore through the lens of Singaporeans based in the UK. These were recorded when we were there at the start of December, and honestly, we were quite blown away by the whole experience. So we really hope you enjoy it. And happy holidays! What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 𝗖𝗏𝗏, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Except today we're not doing that hottest news thing. Right?
Correct. Yeah,
today is a slightly more special episode of 𝗖𝗏𝗏.
Yeah, because it's coming end of year. And what is a nice thing to do at the end of not just the year, but of something very special that we did in December?
I think it's just a reflection a lot on how our year culminated in us bringing 𝗖𝗏𝗏 international. I think that was the big thing for us, and that's why we want to spend some time talking about today.
Yeah. Because the last 2 things we released was a podcast with Sharon and 𝗪𝗲.
Yeah.
And over the course of December, first part, and second part, we were releasing footage we recorded in London. But to people who maybe have not seen that, maybe not listened to that, why the hell were we in London, Terrence?
An opportunity came up, right, to go to London and to do quite interesting things there. I think one big one was to go and visit a football club.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask you as well, right, like traveling to London, right? Has it always been on your bucket list in terms of places you've wanted to visit?
Thankfully, I've been to London a few times. But I will say it's always a city that if an opportunity arises, I'll be damn excited to go.
Yeah. And then we've traveled there for work before, right? Several years ago. But I've always felt like, the cultural art scene in London is something interesting that now that we are very steeped in the whole media entertainment scene in Singapore, I always want to go back and revisit.
But this time, before going to London, were you worried about everything you hear about, going to Trump, Europe is going to the dogs, Terrence?
Yeah.
Europe will be overrun by immigrants.
Yeah, not going to lie. I did have a lot of friends warning me about keeping your phone close to you. Yeah. Don't let it get snatched away. And, I had friends whose, their relatives had that happen to them. So, yeah, there was a little bit of that as well.
What about racism? Were you thinking, oh, shit, you're going to get stuff hurled at you and all?
Racism, I feel like is always in a lot of places that we travel to as, Asian people. I feel that we already understand that is a real risk going around the world. So I wasn't too worried about the racism part, but the safety part I was a bit more scared.
I mean, I also got a couple of friends telling me about the phone thing, but I wasn't too worried, only because time and time again, like whenever you travel to any country, not just even in Europe, even in Asia, the media does focus on certain things.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, rightly so, they need to focus on the things that happen, but it kind of clouds the reality to a certain extent. Yeah. So, I mean, still, of course, be safe.
Yeah.
Don't be stupid. Watch your belongings, because anywhere outside of Singapore, I think generally you need to pay a lot more attention. But yeah, like I was more excited than anxious.
But so all that said, like why were you so excited to go?
I mean, because like one big thing at the start of this year itself, when we were doing, our yearly, okay, what do we hope to achieve this year? Of course, we had the things like the elections and live shows all coming up, but bringing 𝗪𝗲 outside of Singapore seemed like a logical next step and a way to really grow the brand. Partly because we've been receiving more and more messages from people who listen to us overseas, from countries like Tanzania, Canada, of course, Europe, US, Malaysia. But it just felt like, hey, if there are listeners outside, is there something more we can do?
Yeah. And I think the chance to also record a live recording in front of our listeners, 𝗪𝗲 listeners overseas, that was really attractive to me. Being able to engage with 𝗪𝗲 listeners and then kind of validate, like what you said, the messages that people have been sending us.
But that one also came out like, I mean, this whole thing, the opportunity presented itself. We've been talking to Sean for a long time.
Yeah.
But the live show was like the last thing that came up.
Yeah. I think, we were not super confident about having a live show in front of people in London or even finding a venue, right?
Yeah. And I mean, like the Burnley trip happened because of Sean. The live show recording at 𝗪𝗲 Social happened because of another ex-guest of 𝗪𝗲, 𝗪𝗲, who, I mean, because when I think the process of us thinking about, okay, we are going to be in London, we are going to Burnley, what else can we do? We were going to record like regular episodes from our hotel room.
Yeah.
But then I can't remember when we thought about, you know what? We've gotten multiple messages or emails from people in London who listen to us. Why not try to do a live show? Or I think it started off as a meet and greet.
Yeah, meet and greet.
And then it became, okay, meet and greet. What do we do at a meet and greet? Then we're like, why don't we record a live show?
Yeah.
Then the next thing became, can we find a venue? And then we know that there are Singaporean outlets there. So we just asked 𝗪𝗲, like, oh, he has some establishments in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Can you hook us up with someone like Ellen Chu? And he said, oh yeah, he met Ellen Chu. He very graciously put us in touch with her. Turns out she listens to the podcast, and she, if you aren't aware, runs a few restaurants in the UK, namely 𝗪𝗲, Rasa Sayang, 𝗪𝗲 Social, and I don't know whether there's anything else. So yeah, we linked up with her. She listens to the podcast. She introduced her team to us, and yeah, we just went from there.
Yeah. And I think there was all the things really fell in place in the days leading up to us going to London, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, just going back to the football side of things as well, part of the reason I felt like we really had to go was because of everything that's been going on in Singapore football this year, right? We've had the chance to speak to Gavin more than once this year. And yeah, just there's a rejuvenation of that Singapore, that Kallang Raw, right? That Singaporeans are all very vested in the football team again. And I thought it was just timely for us to go to, Burnley, a Premier League club, and really just see what life is like at the top of the professional leagues, right? And see how these Premier League clubs really operate. And is there anything that Singapore, or at least like the way we think about sport in Singapore, we can learn from that, right? Yeah.
Because, I mean, not just football, right? We've been covering sports when it's in the news. Be it, I mean, we've had Shanti Pereira on.
Yeah.
We have spoken about, certain...
Soh Rui Yong, obviously. Yeah.
Soh Rui Yong, of course. We have spoken about issues when, the 𝗪𝗲s was in the news for reacting to certain complaints by parents about, kids missing a training camp in favor of exams. And I think, it's been building up, not just in the football front. And plus, I mean, we know someone who works at a Premier League club.
Yeah.
Which is pretty insane. That Singapore. Yeah. And now, even now, whenever we tell people, there's a Singaporean working at a Premier League club as chief of staff.
Yeah.
So many people don't know.
Correct.
Which is ridiculous. Yeah, because most of them, especially if they follow football, they're like, huh? Really? There's a Singaporean who works not just as one of the junior roles, a very senior role at a Premier League club. I mean, we had to.
Yeah, correct. I mean, but it wasn't a slam dunk either, right? Us going to London. I think there was some internal debates within the team and all about, could we afford the time and everything, and what's the ROI and all of making this trip?
What's the ROI? Wow, terrorism Singaporean, no?
Exactly. But I mean, these are important discussions to have, regardless. And I think beyond a certain point, we could not, look in a crystal ball and tell us exactly what ROI was. And then we said, let's just take that leap of faith.
Yeah. And I mean, like, aside from, wanting to grow the brand and all, traveling as a team is still nice,
But just to clarify, this was not like a team retreat. Where,
it wasn't. It was
fun. It was hectic.
Tiring.
I think other teammate that follow us, that would kill us if we said that it was like,
correct. I mean, it was still fun. When you work hard, you have fun. Hopefully she feels that.
Correct,
And I mean, kudos to our other two teammates in Singapore who were, editing the stuff while we were, sleeping because of the time difference.
In fact, that time difference kind of worked out. In some way, right? In terms of our publishing schedule. So I can't complain about that. Right?
Yeah. So I mean, like for and before we were going, we were thinking, okay, actually, you mentioned ROI. It's more what sort of content we could get out of it. So when we were going to London, we were like, okay, what can we show? And I mean, hopefully we can do more stuff like this, be it with Burnley, be it with other sports teams, or be it with other companies overseas where, we have a Singaporean in, is to capture the experience of going there, being like fishes out of the water and experiencing this whole machine that operates, not just in football. And of course, come back and reflect on it, which is why we thought we'll do a Christmas special, 3-episode Christmas special, and to cap it all off, And it's. I mean, I think the trip, so many things could have gone wrong, but thankfully everything generally went okay.
Yeah.
Right. The live show, it was a very intimate space. If you go and rewatch the video, we were all like cozied up like one Chinese New Year family dinner.
Yeah.
In a private room in a restaurant.
And we had to make everyone sit shoulder to shoulder.
shoulder to shoulder. Yeah. And we went like one round of introductions because I think most of them came by themselves.
Yeah.
And it was nice, we had a very interesting profile of guests, and there were like 13. I mean, it was maxed out. We had to turn away people who commented and all.
Yeah.
So it was very, very heartening to see that.
It felt like a university orientation, right?
That's true.
The first time we were meeting
a bunch
of Singaporeans overseas.
And the question we asked them was, okay, can you stand up, tell us your name, where in Singapore you're from? And so I was like, I'm from UT. I'm from Bukit Panjang. So it was great.
It was nice feeling. And it was like, I mean, this is winter, so everyone's like, hiding from the cold in the basement of a restaurant.
Cozy,
It was nice, warm and cozy.
So I mean, we did that, but at the end, like now, we're just going to recap like the content that came out of it, because that was a big part. We wanted to showcase the inner workings of a Premier League football club. We wanted to talk to at least one other Singaporean who's doing some cool shit. We spoke to 2 fans on the podcast. But the first thing we kind of focused on was the trip to Burnley.
Yeah.
How did we get to Burnley from London?
I mean, it was a perilous, like almost 4-hour train ride. That I think that it started at like 6+ in the morning.
7:15 a.m.
7:15 a.m. in the morning.
But no, for you, it's like from the time you leave the door, that's your traveling time, right?
Correct. Yeah. So that's even more. Like 4+ hours. Yeah. And this is like even before the sun comes up.
Yeah, it was cold. It was cold as shit.
So it was a perilous journey, and just going to Burnley, which is a small town of 100,000 people. That's really in the middle of working class England, I suppose. So it really was an eye opener in that sense, and doesn't feel like the typical when you travel to a place.
Fancy,
then wow, it really felt like you're going to a much small town in England, right?
Yeah. And I mean, the way we got there was after the 4-hour journey, we needed to take like a 45-minute Uber drive from the train station to the training center, which is where we met Sean.
Yeah.
And I mean, the training center, if anyone has watched Ted Lasso or any sort of sports football documentary, or even visited like say Lion City Sailors in Singapore, like a lot of these training centers, they have multiple football pitches.
Yeah.
The thing about Burnley, the town itself is quite quiet. But the training center itself is like in the middle of a national park.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the pitches were pristine, but the area surrounding it, it's basically not like rainforest because it's in Europe, but it was like woody areas.
Yeah. So it really felt isolated.
Yeah.
And at points I realized, hey, I feel like I'm visiting like a monastery.
Yeah.
And everyone, the football players that come here are like the monks who come to the monastery. You know, they eat here, they train here, they do everything here, right?
Yeah.
Other than go to play matches. Except that, I did realize that, the monastery has a lot of Bentleys and sports cars parked there as well.
Yeah.
So the monks drive all these very, very nice sports cars that obviously belong to the players.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it was quite surreal.
Yeah, it was quite surreal. And I mean, the thing, if you may have seen the bigger stadiums of the bigger clubs, but I think the thing about Burnley, it's almost like a SME versus like an MNC for the Manchester Uniteds and Tottenhams. So you go there, there are like 4 full-size pitches, all beautifully maintained. Then you have like 1 or 2 artificial pitches. But there are many teams that train there. So you got the youth teams, I think from like under 13s, under 16s, under 18s, under 21s, the ladies team, the first team, the academy teams. Because they also have like the really young kids there. And I mean, just learning about the process of training at an academy, I think as young as like 8, people are scouted and they come to Burnley from wherever they might be in England, and they live with host families.
Yeah.
So when you think about like Singapore, people saying, oh, it's possible to, balance elite sports and studies and all. I mean, over there is like, if you want to pursue elite sports, it's all or nothing. So you get these little kids as young as like 6, 7 or 8. They leave their towns, they come live with host families, they go train at Burnley. There's like even like a small education center on the training ground.
Yeah.
So the kids can keep track of their studies and all. And it was fascinating, like just being immersed in this place. And I think it was like a 2 or 3 story building that is the training center. And you go in here, there's like the gym, the changing room, the recovery room, the cafeterias, and all the rooms kind of linked to each other. Yeah. So, but what did it feel like for you, like walking into the space? I
mean, it's like what you watch on Ted Lasso, right? Essentially, you don't. Even if you never see like the training pitch, which we actually never went on, because they have this other rule about walking on the training pitches or grass, right?
Yeah.
Everything is just divided into a lot of different rooms. You could imagine this being an office for, from the show The Office, right? Like David Brent and everything.
Nothing fancy, nothing, right?
Just computers, tables, cubicles, printers. Except that everyone is dressed in, workout attire, and they're just dealing with like football, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense, it really shows you that the football there is really like a job for a lot of people. And not job, I don't mean it in a bad sense, but they're very passionate about it. But it's just seen as a line of work, right? You come and you're the nutritionist, or you're the person, the kitman, or someone dealing with the schedules and all that. And that is your job for the day, 9 to 5.
Yeah.
All the passion that you have for football, for loving the sport, all that all you save it for match day, right? But day to day, your experience is you got tasks, you got a job, and you just got to get it done.
Yeah, it's an office job. And I mean, I think in Singapore, if you were to work at a football club, it's very easy to have that mindset, oh, you damn passionate. That means you sacrifice a lot. If you work at the FAS or, Sports SG, it feels a bit more like an office. But here, you can totally imagine a data analyst from a bank going to Burnley for like 1 or 2 years and going back to a bank, because their jobs are, similar in the sense that there's a lot of data to crunch. They have a team of drone pilots that fly drones over training and get all this aerial footage. Every player is hooked up with a vest that tracks everything about their performance. So there's a whole lot of data to process. You get nutritionists who prepare like recovery counters with vitamins dedicated to each player after a game. So it's like, you're like, oh shit, these people, you can imagine it's a 9 to 5.
And for the players, I made a joke about it feeling like a monastery, because the training facility is so far out and all. Actually, it is. You can imagine the people who move nearby to be able to train there, especially the young kids. It really is a commitment from them and their parents. They sacrifice what is probably a very normal childhood, staying in your city or town and going to school with your friends there. They sacrifice a lot of that to spend their time traveling to training and just spending time in training and restricting, the fun stuff they can do outside.
Yeah.
So there is, as much as glamorous as the sport is and as well paid the people at the top are, at the lower levels of football, at the academy level and all, it really entails sacrifice from the players and the families.
Yeah, and it's not glamorous at all, man.
Yeah.
For the younger thing, because it's not say like you train at Jalan Besar Stadium, you walk out, got cafes,
Yeah.
Really, this one you walk out from training center, it take you 30 minutes.
Yeah.
To
Like,
get
if
the
you
main
can even
road.
walk
Yeah.
out, if you can even walk out, probably you have to take a bus or something.
We have to cross a small stream to get to the training center, right?
Correct,
but
correct.
you brought up the thing about how much the top players earn. That was one question that we asked Sean, right? In a place like, let's say, Singapore, so much wealth inequality, especially when you look at politicians earning millions of dollars, there's a very easy anger that comes out. But when we asked Sean, what do the folk of Burnley town, which is like a second-tier city, feel about these players, many of whom don't actually live in Burnley?
Yeah.
They live in Manchester, right? Who earn shit tons of money. And I mean, you remember what he said?
I think he just mentioned that, they're so happy. They're happy for the players, and they're happy that the players are committed to the club Burnley, because ultimately the football means everything to the town, right?
Yeah.
And if they earn a lot, they're happy for them. They're happy that they are earning as much as players in bigger clubs as well. And overall, there's just generally a very supportive mood of seeing these players do their thing in your town, right?
Yeah. And I think, we'll hear from some of the people we spoke to, Burnley, the town football is like the epicenter, So you think about the happiness that the town folk enjoy when they see the team go from the championship promoted to the Premier League.
Yeah.
There's so much joy, and it's like a year-long thing. So every weekend, right? I guess there's the difference. For politicians, maybe whatever shit you're going through in your life, you might think that, it is the politicians' decisions that are screwing up my life.
Yeah.
But for footballers, there's just joy.
Yeah.
Right? They don't do anything to impact your life negatively, but positively the upside is there. So, it doesn't seem like it's a thing at all.
No, yeah. I think they're happy. They're happy to let the players, live their fullest. I live their life to the fullest.
Even if they drive a Bentley, through this small town and go back to Manchester.
Yeah.
If you can bring us happiness on the pitch, that's great. We did, aside from the podcast interview we did with Sean Bai on site, we also spoke to some of the people who work at the club. And before going, we wanted to showcase not just the players, not just the very senior people, but people who work at every level of the club.
Yeah.
So we will just we're gonna play a short excerpt from a conversation we had with Adam, who is the Kitman. And we have the fuller clips on social media, but this is just to give you a taste of what we talked about. But now, as part of the club, how do you deal with losses?
We've got to. I always look at it from our role. What we've got to do, we've got to be positive. We've got to be positive. So morale for lads and keep spirits up. So try not to get too low. Don't get too low.
I see.
Yeah. So take it one game at a time and just. Yeah.
So how does your role as a Kitman, how do you contribute to that? Getting people back, their spirits up and all.
Just being positive, friendly, bubbly characters. Have a laugh and a joke with them. Keep the spirits high. That's that sort of thing, really.
And what's your favourite part of your job?
Oh wow! Again, just being in every single day and mixing with the players and being involved, and you feel like you're part of the club. And the role we're playing, it's just all of it. It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
So Terence, when we interviewed him, what do you take away from that?
Again, I was really thinking about Nate from Ted Lasso again, right? And how integral Nate was to the whole team. In some sense, I think the Kitman he's the picture of continuity in the team. What I think was quite amazing was that, he was preparing, their kids on match day, and I asked him, what is it like is it exciting, right, match day? But for him, it was like, I don't really attend the matches. I'm just there, and every morning I just come at 8 a.m. and I do my thing. I prepare the kit for everyone, including the under 18 kids. And he's the one guy that has relations with, even the under 18 players for the whatever years they're at the academy. So he really is the picture of continuity. And he's been there for 19 years?
Yeah, 19 years.
Crazy number.
Because I mean, like, I don't think he doesn't go for the games because he's not interested. Because there's probably some prep work to do. And yeah, the 19 years, he said he's been doing the Kitman work since COVID. But you hear him talk, there is so much pride. Like when we asked him, what's your favorite part about being a Kitman? He said, just being part of the club, interacting with the players, everything's it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just brilliant, he said it. And I mean, he's been at the club for 19 years. I think at one point he also said that he hoped to be a footballer when he was young. He knew he couldn't make it. So he said, I just want to be part of the club.
Yeah.
And I mean, the self-awareness to also say that, Burnley as a town, there's nothing much else aside from football. So every fan you meet is a Burnley fan. Like every Burnley town folk is a Burnley fan.
Yeah. And I mean, you got to think about, a town of 100,000 people. Then suddenly you have two guys from Singapore coming to visit you and interested in your little town, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it says something about how football brings the town or the city to the rest of the world, right?
Yeah.
And they must be proud of that.
I'm sure when they first saw Sean, right, they were like, what the hell is this guy doing in Burnley? Because walking around, he was literally the only Asian guy. Not only East Asian, not only Asian, just Asian. Asian. And I mean, to his credit, like he... one thing I learned also in Burnley, you don't say, hi, how are you? You're like, you're all right.
Oh, you okay?
You okay?
Yeah,
you okay? You okay?
That's right.
You all right? You okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, this guy, Adam, it just felt like, I mean, he said he loves every day of the job. And I mean, one thing that we did ask everyone we spoke to is, because we spoke to them the day after a loss.
Yes.
Which we got a chance to see the game.
Yeah.
They were playing Crystal Palace. First half was not the best, but second half, they really played damn well. They really pushed. They hit the bar. And felt like they deserve a goal, but they lost 1-0. So when we asked Adam, like, what do you go through when the team loses? He said personally, of course, he feels like he doesn't want to talk for a few days, but as part of the football team, you just need to keep going. You need to move on.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just, you talk to him, you're like, damn, man, I mean, it's very easy to meet people who are not happy with their job, who are craving more, but he just seems so happy, man.
I think there's a running theme amongst all the people that we spoke to there, right?
Yeah.
Of which, I mean, maybe the next one also, like you'll be hearing a snippet from our interview with the lead photographer of the club, Sharon.
You were telling us before this that you also went viral online due to a certain...
Rocket City, 𝗪𝗏 it was a game, and we did this thing called tunnel cam. So they videoed the tunnel, and he was coming in from warm-up, and I was on the floor on my knees taking a photograph, and he just twisted my lens cap off and walked off with it. But it disappeared. If you watch the video, you can't see it in his hands. And it turned out apparently he stuffed it down his shorts and just walked away with it. So I'm just left at the door going, Mario was very, very funny.
But what about for young people who are aspiring to be like photographers or get into the space of football? Like what advice do you have for them starting out?
I would say take photos every single day. I started taking photographs when I was 8 years old, and I've never gone a day where I've not done.
Oh, really?
And I'm nearly 60.
Wow.
So I would say if it's your passion and it's what you want to do it every day. Work out if it is sport or what medium of photography you'd like to do. And then if it is sport, offer your services out. Get as much practice in as you can. Work out if that's definitely for you, because it's an expensive industry to get involved with. The equipment's not cheap, but the rewards are brilliant. I absolutely love my job. I wouldn't do anything else.
All right.
So Harish, what do you take from that conversation, the very spirited conversation with Sharon?
I mean, she's damn cool. And I mean, we also heard that she's been doing club photography for 42 years. And that clip that she mentioned that she went viral for with Mario Balotelli, Man City player, I mean, you can find it online. And it's got millions of views. And for context, when she was the first ever female Premier League club photographer for Man City.
Yeah.
And I mean, not just for Man City. She was the first ever female club photographer for any Premier League club. But there's this clip online where when in the players' tunnel, she was capturing photos of the team walking past, and Mario Balotelli, who's known for his skills, but also his antics. Right? When walking past, he just pulled off her lens and carried on walking. And I mean, she still spoke of him very endearingly.
Yeah.
Very nice, but very, very playful.
Yeah.
And she went viral because of that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I think her presence there, she's really like, again, like a picture of consistency. Like you mentioned, 42 years as a photographer, and how many years, however many years at Man City, right? You know, during those early days when they were starting to win and all. But at Burnley, I think she talks about how, yeah, you got to pick yourself up after a loss, you know, whatever it is. Even for her as a photographer, she has a role to also keep people's spirits up, right? And, keep spirits up and not dwell on the negativity that comes with a loss and all as well. So I can imagine storytelling is a very, very big part of her job, right? Making sure that whatever narratives there are around match day, around the players' moods and all, she captures those, but also how she curates those photos is probably a big part of the overall storytelling that they do with the club.
Yeah. But I mean, that's why the thing about, I think it's so mature. And of course, the skeptical side of me, like thinking, but they don't really just like sit down and like gonna screw for all the mistakes they made and all. Maybe, I think Sean also pointed this out, when you are a young player in school and all, maybe that's necessary. Because you have so many other distractions, you have so many other things to think about. But every player there at the club, they really want to do their best. It's not in their best interest to play like shit.
Yeah.
Right? As a student, you're like, I'm tired, I don't want to play, I'm angry with the coach. So I guess that's why a repeated theme was that you don't dwell on your mistakes. You learn from it and you move on. Also because I think we saw the game was on Wednesday. We interviewed them on Thursday. Saturday was another tough game against Newcastle. Interesting. And I mean, her advice to photographers, you know, take a photo every day. Quite inspiring.
Yeah. And it shows when there's a successful sports team like a football club and everything in the town. It creates job opportunities even for people in the creative space and all as well, right? So that's something I think we don't think about when we talk about sport in Singapore, right? It's always about the sports people, the passion, and then the government got to support them. But actually, there are ancillary industries that also like help. Jobs are created for those ancillary industries.
Yeah, and I mean the image that comes to my mind when I think of a sports photographer in Singapore is like an old uncle, you know, who's like almost about to retire, got nothing else to do, which is very, very not the right thing to think about.
Yeah.
Because for her, she captures club photography. I mean, she's the photographer for Noel Gallagher.
Yeah, music.
Like
music
she was just dropping names like crazy. And when we asked her, like, when you take photos, what do you look out for? I mean, she made it very clear that a lot of it has to do with the relationship you build with the players, where you are allowed into their inner circles, where when after a game you're in a tunnel, they come towards you, they give you a bit of a celebratory wink or something. Those are the moments that she lives for. Which is damn interesting, because then it's no longer just a job where you're capturing like, what happens on the pitch, but really like what you said, the storytelling, the soul of the whole team, the whole club. And that's why I think is like it's less about you hear Singapore national team. I think it's very easy to think that football is just played by a team. But going to Burnley, it is the club. I think the club really captures what it is, and it's not the 11 players on the field are, yes, a very important part of it, but they're not the only part.
Correct. But speaking of players, we also got a chance to actually speak to an actual Premier League player as well from Burnley, right?
Yeah.
And what you're about to hear is the interview that we did with Armando Broja, who's a forward for Burnley, and he even in the match that they played against Crystal Palace, he came on as a substitute, right?
Hello there. If you're new to YLB, welcome. We cover the news from every angle, no matter how controversial. And we're going to keep creating the best possible content for as long as possible. So it would mean the world to us if you could hit the subscribe button down below. It's free and it'll really help this podcast continue to grow. If you're already a subscriber, thank you so much for being part of our journey. If you've been listening to us for a while but haven't yet subscribed, all I can say is, why not? I mean, it's free and it'll take like 2 seconds. So just do it now. Come on, just do it. Just do it. Okay, I'm not going to stop until you do it. All right, done? Okay, great. Thanks. We were there at the game yesterday. We saw you guys have a great second half, especially. Today is the day after. I mean, the result was unfortunate, but how do you all deal with results like that? And because you have a game coming up in a few days as well.
I mean, of course it's difficult, especially when you play well and you create loads of chances, and we don't get a result from the game, it is hard to deal with it, but football moves very quickly. We played yesterday, we've got a game on Saturday, a big one against Newcastle, so it's important to move on quite quickly. Of course, we're in today, we'll train tomorrow, and then we travel up to Newcastle, so of course it does hurt, but you've got to forget about it quick, because we've got to put our full focus onto the next game, and we need to do our best to try and win that game.
I mean, he's a tall guy.
He is.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I think that you realize when you meet or you see these people in the room. There's a very imposing physical presence that every one of them carries. Not necessarily height or what, but just you look at, I think they're all physical specimens.
Yeah.
They look like they could break out the 100-meter sprint just like that, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, this guy is really tall, but he looks really fit as well. But I remember when you interviewed him, they were coming off, that was the morning after a very close, narrow loss, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about seeing him and his mood and
I think
everything?
we were all more anxious and sadder than a lot of players.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a way that, they don't care and all. I think the professionalism for them, across everyone we spoke to, they said, yes, a loss is a loss, but there's also a very quick chance to, build on that, recover from that with the next game. So, it's like very focused on the job. Come there, recovery the day after. There's got to be training the next day and prep for the game. You got to fuel up your food, and everything was just very mission oriented.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And they really have no time to really dwell on the negativity of the past, right?
Yeah.
And maybe in Singapore, we have a bit too much time and space to dwell on negative stuff. We write articles and all that.
Yeah, it's true. And I guess that's the thing about club football. Because for national team, you can imagine if the national team doesn't play well, the next few days, it'll just be a shitstorm online.
Yeah.
But, you mentioned the height. Also, it made me realize that when you look at players like Messi or people who are like our height, right? For them to dominate to that level, amongst people who, you see the interview, I'm literally holding my hand up to reach the guy's face. It makes you think the smaller people who dominate, they are really, really insane.
Where aerial prowess, headers and all that is completely out of question for them.
Yeah.
Because the other players are so tall.
And even the size, man.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, that's true.
You imagine if I wanted to challenge him to off a ball or something, it'd be damn hard.
You have to run between his legs or something.
Like a mouse, man.
Yeah.
But this guy, he's 24 years old. Born, has parents, Albanian parents.
Yeah.
Grew up in the UK. Chose to play for Albania. And you just, I think the team itself has people from don't know how many countries also. And watching them, we got a chance to be in the same cafeteria as them. And just watching them, we're like, oh shit, these are like elite level footballers. But at the end of the day, they're just dudes.
Yeah, dudes also doing a job, right?
Yeah,
and
dudes doing a job.
trying to, they have disappointments, they have very high highs and very low lows.
Yeah.
But they just got to do the job every single day.
Yeah. And then, of course, we spoke to Sean, both at the training pitch, the indoor training pitch, and the podcast.
Yeah.
So, the final clip we're going to show is for the Burnley experience is a clip with Sean 𝗏𝗏. We recorded a podcast with him, but we also recorded a conversation with him on one of the training pitches at Burnley Football Club.
You in your role is maybe even tougher because the whole night you were going around talking to people, talking to the groundsmen, talking to us and hosting, Singaporeans and all. Match ended, emotions high, everything. But you still have to go around and do all that, right?
Yeah.
How do you manage to keep that smile on your face or just go around and still do your thing even though everyone's just feeling down?
You have to, I think, partly, after going through quite a few seasons in football, you tend to build a kind of thick skin in all these situations. And then also, you remember that actually in football or in sports, it's important, especially if you're in a certain role, to have that positive energy around the rest of the team and people. Because imagine if I walked in after a game, speak to you guys, and I'm just down or pissed off, frustrated, you will feel it straight away.
Yeah.
And then is there something wrong? Or you start to have that negative energy. So, like I said, ultimately, because in football, in the whole season, it's like a marathon. You can't dwell on that 1 kilometer. Your energy has to be very positive. You have to keep looking on to the next one. You have to keep moving forward. So, it's not always easy, but at the same time, I think, you get better and better at it.
But the inner Singaporean desire to complain, you have to suppress. Or you punch the pillow.
No.
So Darren, aside from, maybe that conversation, it was no longer a podcast. It was him, on the ground, on a training pitch.
Yeah.
How did that go?
I mean, it's quite cool, right? You see a Singaporean who's really in his element, who's comfortable. He's just running around the artificial pitch and, nutmegging us and all that, right? I mean, he's just very comfortable in his element there. And he looks so foreign, right? He doesn't look like anyone else there. But he's like seamlessly transitioning between talking to English people, speaking to Chinese visitors and just talking to everyone in the hierarchy of the club. So it's quite inspiring to see, even there's so much that he took from his work as a civil servant, as a Ministry of Foreign Affairs diplomat, into a football club now, and it completely works. So everything they tell you about, Singapore is small, our market is small, we don't have the kind of experience, you can't learn things here that are applicable elsewhere in the world. I think he blows that out of the water, right?
Yeah, and all while retaining his Singlish accent.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing. Yeah. It'll be like, "Sean boy, you alright?
Yeah.
You okay?" And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah. There's something he did say when he was showing us around the stadium as well, right? And I found it was quite interesting. He essentially, when you walk around the stadium before the match, after the match, everything, you realize what a big endeavor this is every single week for the club, or every 1-2 weeks, right, for the club. And I think Sean likened it to hosting an NDP every weekend, right? And the kind of work that goes into doing something like that. It feels seamless. We switch on our TV, our subscription to watch the English Premier League. Everything feels seamless, right? But it's so much work that goes on behind the scenes, and people like Sean have to pull all of these kind of things together, right?
Yeah. And I mean, we met the people. I don't even know what their roles were. We met the security people. We met someone who works at the store who's also been there for like 20 years and loves every day of the job.
Yeah.
We saw some academy players or visiting academy players as we were welcoming the players from their bus.
Yeah.
It was just like, wow, this is like really a village having ownership over a club.
Yeah.
And then you think about like Singapore, I think maybe during the Malaysia Cup days, there maybe was that feeling because it was more regular. For the national team right now, they don't play as often, but it does feel like, you know what the guy said, the Kitman Adam, he said, everyone in Burnley is a Burnley fan.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, everyone in Singapore is or should be a Singapore fan, right?
Should.
And I mean, not just of Singapore football, just Singapore sports. We just had the SEA Games also. A lot of winners, a lot of proud moments there. So yeah, I think like now more than ever, feeling something for Singaporeans who are putting our flag on the map is important. And when you go to Burnley or a club like Burnley, you see there's so much. It's almost like everybody has their work life, their personal life, but also their football or sports life. Yeah, it's just another facet of life.
Yeah.
Which Singapore, I guess we are lacking.
Yeah. And I think for Sean, his job is also doubly hard because as the guy who keeps everything moving, when a very heartbreaking loss happens, he still needs to keep the smile on his face, right? And not only keep spirits up, but make sure everyone just continues doing the work.
Yeah, correct.
So and at the same time, he's in some ways, he is both the good cop and the bad cop together at the same time.
Yeah. Because I mean, he did mention certain things like, even like football, of course, is a spectator sport. Even bringing visitors to the training center, there's a lot that goes into it, because when the first team is training on the first team grounds, they are very wary of visitors coming and, leaking info or something. So there are certain rules that, again, his diplomacy training probably helped. And I mean, even aside from diplomacy, one thing he did also say is that, I mean, it's a different way of thinking of football, because we also asked him the same question. When a team loses, like when your team loses, how do you move on? And he pointed out that, even in loss, there's beauty. There's beauty in sport. Because when we were there, I mentioned the first half, they didn't have the best game, but the second half, we were on the edge of our seat, we were cheering.
Yeah.
And to him, that is what football encompasses.
Yeah.
That as long as you give your all, as you see people on the pitch, the fans are entertained, that's part and parcel of football.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, is a very mature way of thinking of a loss.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, because it's applicable to everyone's day-to-day life also, right?
Yeah.
You suffer a setback. As long as you give your all, okay, you build on it, you learn, you move on.
Yeah. And the visitors who come, some are, I think you had experience with a Man U legend,
Yeah.
John O'Shea as well.
Yeah.
I don't know why he was there, maybe to scout or something. But there were also like even families of the opposing team coming to visit. So really you're talking about visitors who are there and really they're not supporters of your club, but they're also there to just partake in the whole atmosphere of the place. So you just got to keep up the whole atmosphere and make sure everyone is well taken care of. Right?
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at it, you're like, wow, football, maybe now our minds have been conditioned to make it very binary, very simplified. Oh, a team win is good, a team lose is bad.
Yeah, correct.
National team lose is terrible, is fuck all. But you just realize there's so much that goes into it. And the spirit of sport is where the beauty lies.
Yeah.
You're going to face ups, you're going to face downs, which is like life, Terence.
Yeah. That's a good reflection in that in Singapore, it's like, oh yeah, they win, then we give them a reward and we send them to a competition. Cannot win, then we just withdraw them and take them out from competitions. Which, to me, it's not the ethos at these top level clubs, right? Win or lose, everyone has to put up their best front, right, for the game.
And I mean, even when you extend it to people like, Joseph Schooling, when he wins, he's a hero. When he does something that not ideal, he's like, wow, he's a disappointment to Singapore and all. Which I'll admit, I also felt like, wow, how can you do that? But at the end of the day, like, watching these players up close, yes, they're capable of superhuman things on the pitch, but they're people after all. And in any other job, if you have a bad day, if you have a bad month, people are like, okay it's a season, you move on don't worry. You move on. But as a player, as an athlete, it's like, wow, you fucked up, you're shit, you got no attitude.
They should sell you at the end of the season.
So I mean, there's just a lot of time to think on the train also. But then after that, when we came back to London, we got a chance to record an episode with another Singaporean doing cool shit in London. And what or who is this guy?
This is 𝗧𝗲, also known as Dear Modern, a feng shui focused architect, right? Who has gone completely viral on the internet since COVID, right?
And I mean, if you see these videos, you know who we are talking about. But we're going to play you an excerpt to show that what you see in the videos is pretty much who he is in real life.
And back then, if you remember, if you travel, you must be quarantined for 2 weeks in the hotel room. So I was like, I have 2 weeks trapped in the room. I cannot do anything. What should I do? So I didn't do anything. I was in the hotel and I downloaded TikTok and I was watching TikTok. And I was like, oh, TikTok is so fun. It was new back then. TikTok is so fun. And everyone was creating new content and I felt, I want to contribute something myself. What should I make about? So I thought, I could make a video about architecture. That's a bit boring, a bit dry. So I thought, I want something simple. Let's talk about where to put your bed in feng shui. Because, quite straightforward. Everybody knows, but it's fun to just introduce the idea. And little did I know that went viral straight away. Because
your first video went viral.
Yeah, my first video went viral, like straight away. And doing that was a crazy week because I posted that video on day 2. And then it was like 10,000 followers, 20,000 followers. It was growing like crazy. And I was like, oh no, it's happening. I cannot stop making videos. So let me make more. And I make. By the end of the 2 weeks when I left the hotel, it was already like 100,000 followers. What is this? That's insane.
It's like such a productive quarantine, man.
So, I mean, wow, the energy in the room. You can feel it, right, Harish? But how did it feel actually being in the room with him?
I mean, because before meeting him, when doing research and all, I just found out he got 7.5 million followers across all platforms. Like he's on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and I mean, just he seems very press savvy, and all amidst that, he responded to our DM on Instagram pretty quickly within a day or two. He agreed to come to this random hotel and meet these people he's never met to record a podcast. And I just had a lovely time, man.
I did find his self-awareness very charming, right? Even from the moment he said how he fell in love with architecture and then he decided to drop out of JC to pursue it. All the way to today, he doesn't take anything that he has achieved for granted as well. And he's just it was so easy dealing with him and setting the whole interview up and all. There's just something about him that makes me feel like, hey, we totally got to get him on again when he comes to Singapore. I want to see what he's like in Singapore also, right? Yeah.
Because, I mean, during the episode before recording, he said he's tired from a few days shoot that happened the day before.
Yeah.
But he didn't seem tired at all. He did not seem tired. In fact, we were tired, and I was looking at like, how is this guy still so energetic? And I mean, really respect how he's carved up this niche. Because if anybody told you like there's this guy who runs a consulting service on how to arrange the furniture in your room better based on the principles of architecture and feng shui.
Yeah.
Well, what the fuck is this guy doing? Okay. Right. But yeah, I think if you go to the website, he's booked till April.
Yep.
And this was early December when you go to the website. He's booked till April for non-urgent bookings. I think he's thriving, man.
He's thriving.
Yeah.
And I really... Initially, I thought, oh, he must miss Singapore in some way, because he's seems like such a Singapore homeboy, right? But I think he brings the sunshine from Singapore with him wherever he goes. He's very positive. But, he's just so happy doing what he's doing. I don't think he feels that he's very far removed from home or very far removed from what he's meant to do in this world or anything. He's just someone who's very in touch with who he is.
You don't think he misses Singapore?
I'm sure he does to some extent, but when you're around him, you just feel like this guy's in his flow. Right?
Yeah, he's flow.
Like wherever he is in the world, this guy's doing something he loves and doing it well and being recognized for it. And that is the state that everybody should try and aim for.
I bet even when he was cycling before and after the recording to meet us and leave, he was probably smiling. Amidst the gloomy weather in London, he was probably still smiling, because he also did say that when he does his consults over video calls, his favorite is to do it with Malaysians and Singaporeans.
Yes.
Because he feels at ease and he feels that he can really let go, be himself. But again, not to harp on something that seems trivial, the fact that he speaks, like you watch him online, you can tell, hey, this guy is Singaporean. And I feel that's so refreshing, because the Singaporean accent is amazing, Singlish is amazing, and people who like go against the grain of having to, adopt adopt a foreign accent to fit in. Oh, I want respect, man.
Yeah. So I think he really. That's why I also say he brings Singapore with him.
Yeah,
and the accent also. That's a very big part of his identity.
And I mean, before recording, we did ask him, so how often do you get recognized? And do you get recognized everywhere? He's like, in Dubai he got recognized. In London he got recognized, I think, that day.
Yeah.
So if you talk about like a globally known Singaporean on social media, I mean, of course, you get huge people on TikTok, but their content might appeal to only the younger demographic.
Yeah.
But here, he's talking to people like us.
Yeah. And I'm a bit of a skeptic when it comes to feng shui and all that, obviously.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way he phrases it, there's a lot of logic in it, and he doesn't shove it down your throat also, right?
He doesn't prey on your insecurities.
Exactly, yeah. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, but I hope he distills his knowledge into some sort of document or something, because his book, but I meant like the regional knowledge. Because you say when you're talking to Italians, for example, you need to understand that a bidet is a must. I'm guessing even for people in India also.
Yeah.
Bidet should be everywhere. That's the only thing I did not like about London.
No bidets, right?
No fucking bidets.
Yeah.
I hate that idea. But yeah, bidets are important.
That's a cultural war that probably in the next few years will be fought.
As UK is overrun by immigrants, right?
Exactly.
Once you see bidets everywhere. And to cap off the whole trip, we did our live show recording. I mean, the episode online has been out for a while, but we'll just play you a short clip to give you a feel of what went down. Okay, cool. We are recording today in front of a live audience, a very intimate live audience at Shansui Social at Westminster, London.
Yeah, and it's a super intimate setting.
Super intimate.
I think everyone's like shoulder to shoulder, feeling each other's body warmth.
Yeah.
Very, very Singaporean style, right?
Many of them haven't met before and now forced to socialize.
Yeah, and these are all YLB listeners who actually, we didn't just pull them off the street.
Yeah.
How did they get here?
They had to comment on Instagram, and then I think we selected them on their comments. So from the thousands of people who commented, we selected 12. 12.
Yeah. You're a really unique group. Very, very unique.
You all made it very far.
And not just Singaporeans. We also have an international audience, right?
Yeah.
We have a visitor from Malaysia, observer, right? From Malaysia.
Malaysia boleh!
Okay, we'll edit that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so Terence, what do you recall from it? I mean, from the time we decided, or like from the time we were prepping or packing to go to the restaurant?
I think one thing that shocked me, and you probably don't see it in the interview podcast, is that there were a lot of also non-Singaporeans in the audience as well. Not say a lot, okay. There was one, young person who grew up in Singapore, but he's no longer living in Singapore anymore. But he came because, he'd been listening to 𝗂𝗪𝗏 to keep in touch with things going on in Singapore. So that was a pretty amazing thing to see, right?
Pretty confusing because when he walked in, I think all of us were thinking, what's this?
I mean, he's Caucasian, right?
What's this Caucasian guy doing?
So I was holding on to my wallet, making sure nobody was like going to pickpocket me.
I mean, not to say you don't see Caucasians in Singapore or grew up in Singapore, but it's not someone you would expect.
Yeah, when you do a call for Singaporeans in London to come to listen to a Singaporean podcast, you don't really expect a Caucasian.
But he grew up in Singapore his whole life. His accent is Singaporean. So that was great. And then there was a Malaysian friend.
Malaysian comedian,
𝗲𝗏, who happened to be in London and joined us for the live recording.
Yeah.
And I mean, like this whole trip we were running and gunning. It was a very lean setup. And I mean, we didn't mention earlier, but I think one reason why we were confident this could happen was our baptism of fire of GE 2025.
Correct, yeah.
Where we just would every day do a pop-up recording, assemble the equipment and all, then disassemble it, pack it up. So for this one, I think it was in the morning itself, because we had some other commitment in the morning. We walked around with our suitcases and went to the store, set up. There was just like 3 of us and an additional person, so 4 of us setting up. And we had not seen the place physically at all.
Yeah.
We went there, people started coming on time.
Yeah.
That was also a very surprise. People came on time, and we started on time. And very, very different from the live shows we've done in Singapore.
Maybe that's, in the words of one of the people, the interviewees we spoke to on the podcast, a Singaporean working in London. London's a high-trust working environment. I think they use those words. Where basically people are treated like adults. You treat each other like adults, and you don't have expectations that, everyone's going to be late and all that, right? So everybody, we said 3 p.m. and they turn up 3 p.m. Right?
Singapore, not high trust.
Singapore, there's always a sense that, people are going to play punk or they're going to be late and all that, right? At least I think, I believe in our workplaces, we have less of a high trust kind of environment. There's still a lot of, SMEs or even MNCs where people say that they have to do FaceTime at work. Showing up in the office when before your boss is there, things like that, right?
Yeah.
But over there, from the sense that I was getting from talking to 𝗂𝗏, I think she was saying that, that was one thing she really enjoyed about working in London, the high trust.
That's true. Because, even after the recording, I met up with some friends who are working there. And 2 of them out of 4 said, I've got a compressed schedule at work. What do you mean compressed? So one of them works 9 in 10.
Yeah.
So instead of 10 days, 8 to 4 or 5, he works 9 days with slightly longer hours.
Okay.
So every 2 weeks, he gets a day off. Then one works 4 in 5.
Oh.
So it's like a term.
I've
got a 4 in 5 schedule.
Oh, so that's a term that they use, like 4 and 5, 9 and 10.
Both of them use. So she works 4 days a week, longer hours.
Yeah.
And it feels like, that is what you would expect a flexible work environment to actually feel like. Singapore, there is this requirement that any employee can ask and companies have to consider it. But I don't know, I just heard another company is bringing back all the people to work because of some mistrust.
Yeah.
But in the UK, if it's structurally like that and it's accepted, you can imagine in Singapore, people choose I want to do 4 days a week. I work a bit longer, but might rub some people the wrong way. I mean, NUS confirmed.
NUS, to begin with. But maybe those could be more, isolated anecdotal cases. But at least from the group, they seem to be quite in consensus that was the experience for them, right? Yeah. I mean, the other guy that we spoke to as well, Dex, as well. I found it interesting that his was a story of a bit of reverse brain drain, in the sense that he didn't seem very very apprehensive about returning to Singapore. If anything, I felt that it was quite inspiring that he wanted to take his experience in the social services sector and to bring it to Singapore and see what he could do there, right? That's why I thought his story was quite interesting.
And I mean, in some sense, it was inspiring, I guess, just to hear from not just the two of them, but the other Singaporeans as well. Because after we spoke to them, a consistent thing was like they knew moving to another country is not going to be easy, but it was kind of why they wanted to just experience something different, build a different kind of life, and even if it means go back to Singapore after that, which I think Dex said he wants to come back to Singapore. Just you look at it, you're like, in some way we did a mini version of that.
Yeah.
We could have stayed in Singapore.
Yeah.
We could have had another remote podcast with 𝗀𝗵𝗏, but going there, it just opened our eyes.
Correct.
Open our eyes.
And maybe being away from Singapore helps you appreciate Singapore and the good things that we have here as well, a little bit more, which is something that they also mentioned.
But it was a very hectic week, and I remember at some point you were saying like, okay, London is like, looks like Orchard Road. I think generally for me, cities after a while, you get into the rhythm of things and all. But I guess what was really interesting for me was getting out of London to visit Burnley and to see other parts of England, right? That we don't have that in Singapore, right? You have to get out of the country to see that. So that's where I really enjoyed those aspects of the trip. For me, right from the time we reached in London, I already felt so inspired and so like, captivated. I think it's just, not only were we in a different city with different architecture, the weather was different, right? We were wearing different kind of clothes from Singapore, so it really felt like every aspect of Singapore life is different over there, and it just maybe is a different setting, It just made me think, Singapore is great, but the world, there's so much out there, and just felt like interesting. And we heard from like 𝗀𝗏, performing in the UK also. There's so much going on every single moment of the day. Just felt like, there's a lot more that we can do.
There's so much arts and cultural events going on there. I think if you go around and just tell people, I'm a performer, or I'm performing a show here, or a small show here and there, it's just a part of like the scene here, right? Whereas in Singapore, if you say you're an influencer or in arts or entertainment, everyone kind of looks at you funny, and the immediate question is like, how do you make a living?
How do you make a living? How exactly? How do you make a living?
Whereas over there, it's like everyone is in the scene, or working in something related to the scene, in some way. So it just feels like a very normal part of the economy.
So you think Singapore can reach that point?
I think right now, one thing that we also in that conversation 𝗀𝗏 mentioned was like the availability of performance spaces. That's a big factor as well. I think Singapore is very costly, right? Anytime you want to set a performance space, but also things like censorship or getting licenses and approvals. That's another step that Singapore has that London doesn't have, and I think that gets in the way of a really vibrant, thriving, self-sustaining scene.
But do you think that there's hope? Because I actually think, there is a potential to get there. It's just whether or not people want to, or whether structurally it's supported. And I mean that because, I think early in December, there's this new 𝗪𝗏 shuttle bus that's coming out, which I'm like, that's pretty solid.
Smart,
It really feels like, like what people were feeling about, Knight Rider being such a unique thing actually got implemented. And then, you hear the story of the guy who took over the rental of the coffee shop his stall is in, and keeping the rents lower to attract more tenants. Of course, you can argue whether that's sustainable or not. But when it comes to spaces, right, there are so many spaces in Singapore that are owned by big companies or even individuals or something. If there can be some shift in terms of the value of arts and to become seen as like more important, right? I think there is a potential for people to say like, you know what, I want to support this. I'm just going to offer this at a lower rate or something like that. But the next question is, how the hell do we get there? How do we get to a point where everybody feels so strongly about, national athletes competing overseas? It's possible, but whether we get there, I don't know.
I think, it's a bit cliche to say it, but I think it requires a mindset shift. A mindset shift that, it is possible to build an ecosystem that supports sporting excellence. It is possible to build an ecosystem that supports artistic and entertainment endeavors as well, right? Whereas now it's in Singapore, a lot of stuff is very KPI driven or ROI driven. Like, what can we achieve in the next results in the next 3 years, right? When people have such short-term expectations of your football team, of your arts and entertainment scene and all, then it can never compare to the returns that you get from a REIT investing, buying over a piece of landed property or what, right? So I think we got to look at all these, whether it's sports or arts and all that, as, they can't have the same kind of KPIs or ROIs that compared to like real estate investment or like investment in AI and stuff like that. They have to operate on very different KPIs before we can contemplate, like, is it even possible, right?
Yeah. Because, I mean, even, going down the tube, along the train rides, you don't just see ads of retail products. You see ads of performances, of posters of plays. Yeah. I mean, in Singapore, I don't think you see many of that, or maybe some big blockbusters, yes. But I was just having a fun time down the tube. The escalator's slow also. You just look at these posters going down.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
and you just feel like there's so much going on. There's something for everyone. Yeah. It's not just only for the masses, but even just if you have a very niche interest, whether in comedy or anything like that, there's just so many different things.
Yeah. And I mean, with this festive cheer, like recapping a wonderful month of December, like what are some of the things that, we can share that we are thinking about international stuff?
I mean, in the vein of football, next year and the year after are going to be two very big years for Asian football, right? One is obviously the World Cup next year, and the other one is the 2027 Asian Cup in Saudi Arabia, right?
There's also the AFF.
Oh, yes, the AFF
2026.
Well. Yeah. So, I mean, we definitely want to talk more about sports and football in that space, but also be on the ground at some of these competitions and feel the spirit of what it means to bring the Kallang Raw around the world, right?
Yeah. And I mean, just being on the ground in other countries, I mean, like on the way back, I just got actually no, that would be my One Shiok Thing. But basically, like, it was so eye-opening for us being on the ground, even for a few days in a foreign country. Hopefully, people who saw the content, who watched and listened to the podcast, also feel like, hey, actually, this was an interesting perspective. And to do more of that would be damn cool.
Yeah.
Not just with regards to football, with regards to
politics, not just with regard to politics also, right? Because I think that's when we tell people about 𝗖𝗷𝗲 bus, then they all think it happens once every 5 years only. You can't do anything else with it. Correct. But yes, we can do other things with it.
Politics. I mean, we have spoken about politics overseas as well. And like a lot of overseas politics affect Singapore.
Yeah.
So 𝗖𝗷𝗲 bus goes to KL. Then Thailand, then Cambodia.
Our ASEAN tour, essentially.
ASEAN tour. Oh man, West Point, we got to chat, man.
Yeah.
But like exciting times, exciting times.
That's right.
And I mean, it's a Christmas time, so maybe we can cap off with a One Shiok Thing that, I mean, doesn't need to be Christmas related.
That doesn't have to be. My One Shiok Thing is very much in the spirit of what we've been talking about. This actually, I think you alluded to it, but this is actually a video from the Burnley Football Club YouTube channel. It's what happens in a club shop on match day. So this is basically an exploration of the merchandise shop, the Burnley merchandise shop at the stadium itself and what it's like on match day. And it's quite interesting because they follow the manager of the shop who's been there for many years, and he's got a lot of KPIs.
Who we met, right?
That's one cool thing. I watched this video, and then we got to meet him when shopping at a merch store.
You said you're the guy from the video.
Yeah. And then I mean, it was quite interesting exchange. But he just talks about. He's got KPIs as well. In this video, I think it was talking about Black Friday. No, not Black Friday, but certain KPIs that he had to meet for sales and sales targets, and how he navigates, the fans coming in and when they get excited about stuff, and how he tries to push merchandise and close the sales, close more sales for his little shop, so it's very interesting to see how these smaller economies are working within the larger economy of the football club, and they're all just part of the whole footballing family at the club.
Yeah, which is great, because I know last time even Sharon said, when you think about Singaporeans going abroad to work at a football club, it's not just as players.
Yeah.
They have roles that, and a lot of people in Singapore could also retail, F&B,
exactly,
physios and all.
Yeah.
So,
and these are careers. They're not like small gigs that they just do once in a while.
Careers. I mean, we also met a Singaporean sports psychologist, right?
That's right.
Who has worked with Premier League clubs as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. Cool. My one Shiok thing, also in the spirit of something that I alluded to earlier. On the flight on the way back, I watched an episode of Conan Must Go, which, I mean, when he was doing his late night show, he would have these remote segments, like 8 to 9 minute clips of him either going alone or with his producer partner Jordan Schlansky to these other countries and interacting with locals or learning like the Korean language. So I think it was so popular that it got turned into a full TV show where every episode is 30 to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's damn cool because after he left late night, he runs a podcast, right? Called Conan finds a friend, and he routinely has these segments where he speaks to fans from around the world.
Yeah.
So I watched one episode, and literally it was Spain, and he spoke to 3 fans out of Spain, and when he went to Spain, he met them. So it's so nice because he's got a link to Spain, and then of course it's very highly produced, and it's just so engaging, and we're like, wow, if we can do something like that.
Yeah.
Woo! Wow, solid. So yeah, inspiring. Hopefully, I mean, if you're listening, you're sharing in this festive festive spirit, hopes for 2026 and the future. But yeah, man.
Yeah.
This is our end of year episode.
A wrap up of our experiences in December in London.
Yeah. Hope you guys had a very Merry Christmas and have a wonderful New Year.
Yeah.
And if you enjoyed this episode or if you enjoyed any of our episodes, please do share it with at least one other person. And you can follow us on social media: TikTok, Instagram, Telegram, Reddit, and please sign up also for our newsletter, our weekly newsletter called Your Little Bit, where we have all our weekly One Shiok Things consolidated nicely in an email so you don't have to look anywhere else.
Yeah, and if you want to work with us, just email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com or just check out ministryoffunny.com. There's a contact us page there.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for a lovely year.
Happy holidays, I have to say that. Happy holidays.
And onward to 2026.